Eggs are widely regarded as a superfood, a valuable gift from nature intended to bolster the daily health of older adults. However, a concerning reality is subtly unfolding. For many individuals over the age of 60, incorrect methods of egg consumption can precisely trigger the rapid progression of kidney insufficiency. Have you recently experienced shortness of breath, noticed swollen eyelids upon waking, or observed distinct indentation marks on your feet from footwear? Many of us tend to dismiss these as inevitable physiological changes associated with aging. We may attempt dietary modifications such as reducing salt intake or restricting fluid consumption in an effort to alleviate swelling, yet the condition often persists without amelioration. The truth is that your kidneys are under considerable strain, repeatedly filtering nitrogenous waste products and putrefactive protein aggregates resulting from excessive protein absorption from eggs. The kidneys are silent organs, enduring silently until their filtration function declines below 30%, at which point the consequences are often severe. While this may sound alarming, fortunately this situation can be entirely mitigated.
Eggs themselves are not inherently problematic. The issue lies in current dietary combinations. With just a few minor yet scientifically backed adjustments, individuals can continue to enjoy this nutritious food without imposing undue stress on renal function. I will now disclose this crucial information for your clarity. To comprehend how egg consumption can burden the body, it is essential to examine the physiological processes within the kidneys. When an individual consumes a protein-rich meal, particularly high-quality protein from eggs, the body initiates metabolic processes that produce nitrogenous byproducts. At this juncture, a scientific phenomenon known as glomerular hyperfiltration occurs. You can visualize your kidneys as sophisticated filtration systems. When you consume a substantial quantity of eggs, the considerable nitrogen load from protein and phosphorus from the yolk inundates this filtration system at a dense concentration. Specifically, 100 grams of egg yolk contains up to 586 milligrams of phosphorus. For younger individuals, kidneys typically manage this load effectively. However, for those of us aged 60 and above, the renal filtration rate naturally diminishes by approximately 1% annually, compelling an aging organ to operate at an additional 33% capacity to process excess protein poses a significant long-term health risk.
This overload not only forces the kidneys to work excessively, but also generates nitrogenous toxins such as urea, ammonia, and notably TMAO, which accumulate in the bloodstream. Scientific studies have demonstrated that excessive protein intake contributes to increased intraglomerular pressure, leading to damage to the delicate filtration capillaries and subsequent protein leakage into the urine, proteinuria. In response, the kidneys may enlarge in an attempt to compensate for the workload. However, this hypertrophic response is often associated with fatigue, leading to progressive fibrosis and functional decline over time, often without overt symptoms. More critically, the fermentation of undigested protein fragments in the intestines further generates toxins, such as indoxyl sulfate and p-cresol sulfate. When these substances enter the bloodstream, they inhibit natural protein synthesis, contributing to sarcopenia, muscle wasting, and chronic fatigue in the elderly. When weakened kidneys cannot adequately filter phosphorus, elevated levels of this substance stimulate the body to draw calcium from bones, leading to bone weakening and calcium deposition in blood vessels. This results in vascular calcification, hardening of arteries, and an elevated risk of severe cardiovascular complications. All these processes unfold silently, leading us to mistakenly believe we are enhancing our health, while in reality, we are gradually eroding our precious renal function.
A common dietary error observed in many Vietnamese households is the practice of combining eggs with a glass of condensed or full-fat milk for breakfast, under the misconception of providing enhanced nutritional support. Are you aware that when eggs are consumed with condensed milk, the body must simultaneously process a very high protein load, approximately 20 to 25 grams, combined with a significant amount of fat, 10 to 20 grams? This combination inadvertently creates a slowly coagulating mixture within the stomach, significantly impeding the digestive process. When this protein load is not fully digested in the small intestine, it proceeds to the large intestine. There, intestinal bacteria commence fermentation and decomposition of these undigested protein fragments, producing a range of detrimental toxins such as ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, and indole. A scientific study has indicated that excessive protein intake can elevate intestinal ammonia concentrations by up to 59%.
For the already compromised kidneys of older adults, filtering these elevated levels of ammonia and other byproducts from the blood represents an overwhelming burden. Instead of resting, the kidneys are compelled to work continuously to convert these substances into urea for excretion. If the kidneys cannot filter adequately, these toxins will accumulate, leading to silent renal deterioration, often unnoticed. Furthermore, full-fat milk varieties typically contain a notably high phosphorus content, ranging from 200 to 250 milligrams per cup. When full-fat milk is combined with egg yolks, which are already rich in phosphorus, the total phosphorus intake will exceed renal processing capacity. Medical experts caution that for individuals requiring renal health protection, restricting full-fat milk is crucial for managing serum phosphorus levels. Conversely, transitioning to low-fat or skim milk varieties demonstrates tangible benefits in mitigating the risk of chronic kidney disease. Therefore, the habit of consuming eggs with condensed or full-fat milk in the morning, while seemingly nutritious, is in fact subtly generating proteinaceous byproducts and toxins that impose significant daily stress on renal function.
Another equally prevalent habit is consuming ripe bananas as a dessert immediately after egg intake. While bananas are generally perceived as a wholesome and nutritious fruit, their combination with eggs exerts a dual burden on the kidneys. The primary concern lies in the exceptionally high potassium content in bananas. On average, one banana contains approximately 400 to 450 milligrams of potassium. For younger individuals or those in the early stages of kidney disease, this amount of potassium may not pose a significant issue. However, as we age, the renal capacity for potassium filtration and excretion significantly declines, leading to hyperkalemia, potassium accumulation in the blood. It is important to pay attention to your body. If, after a meal containing bananas and eggs, you experience fatigue, muscle weakness, progressive numbness in fingers and toes, or nausea, these could be indicators of hyperkalemia. More severely, excessively high potassium levels can lead to cardiac arrhythmias and, in unfortunate cases, sudden cardiac arrest.
Research conducted in 2020 confirmed this as an increasingly serious concern for individuals with compromised renal health. In addition to potassium, ripe bananas also contain approximately 27 grams of sugar, including glucose and fructose. When this amount of sugar is consumed concurrently with a high protein load from eggs, it increases blood viscosity or thickness. Viscous blood flows sluggishly, reducing renal glomerular blood flow and necessitating an overcompensatory filtration mechanism by the kidneys. Prolonged overcompensation can lead to unnecessary damage to the renal filtration system. Consequently, the combination of eggs and ripe bananas inadvertently creates a dual burden, both overloading potassium excretion capacity and straining renal filtration capabilities. This underscores the necessity of extreme caution with this combination, particularly for individuals managing hypertension or diabetes.
After completing a breakfast with eggs, many individuals habitually enjoy a refreshing glass of iced tea or a cup of milk coffee to initiate a more alert day. However, it is crucial to understand that caffeine present in tea and coffee acts as a mild diuretic. Scientific studies have indicated that consuming approximately 300 milligrams of caffeine can increase urinary output by approximately 16% compared to normal. When urinary volume increases without adequate compensatory intake of filtered water, the body enters a state of mild dehydration. This dehydration causes our blood to become more concentrated and viscous. Imagine that as blood thickens, its circulation through the delicate renal microfilters becomes exceedingly difficult. This is analogous to forcing a coffee filter to process an overly thick and sediment-laden liquid. The combination of this viscous bloodstream and the high protein load from eggs compels the glomeruli to operate under extreme stress, leading to progressive damage over time. The specific mechanism involves caffeine inhibiting sodium reabsorption in the renal tubules, thereby increasing solute excretion and drawing out more water.
When we consume eggs, the body inherently requires a certain amount of water to dissolve and metabolize protein. Drinking tea or coffee immediately afterward is akin to depleting the essential water reserves required for filtration. As a result, protein waste products are insufficiently diluted, leading to easier precipitation and direct pressure on the glomerular filtration membrane. Furthermore, various teas, especially green tea and matcha, contain significant levels of oxalates and potassium. For individuals with impaired renal function, potassium excretion becomes considerably more challenging. Potassium accumulated in the blood from tea, combined with potassium already present in other foods, can lead to very dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. Healthcare professionals consistently advise paying particular attention to seemingly healthy beverages that contain minerals challenging for impaired kidneys to excrete. Therefore, instead of consuming iced tea or coffee immediately after eggs, it is advisable to opt for a glass of warm filtered water to support gentler and more efficient renal function. This small habit will help protect your kidneys from unnecessary stress and maintain long-term health.
Are you aware that for the same egg, the method of preparation, whether fried until crispy or steamed, significantly determines whether your kidneys will rest or struggle against toxins? When eggs are fried at high temperatures until golden and crispy, or stewed with excessive salt and fish sauce, a hazardous compound known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, is formed. Simply put, AGEs are toxic deposits generated when proteins are exposed to high temperatures. Scientific studies have demonstrated that dry and high-heat cooking methods, such as frying, can elevate the production of these toxins by 10 to 100 times compared to conventional cooking methods. These substances not only damage blood vessels, but also create undigestible protein aggregates, accelerating glomerular inflammation and deterioration. Conversely, cooking methods involving steam and moderate temperatures, such as steamed or soft-boiled eggs, represent an excellent choice for health. At temperatures approximately 85 to 90 degrees Celsius, the protein structure of the egg remains tender, enabling rapid digestion without imposing undue strain on the intestines. When protein is well digested, it is cleanly absorbed, allowing the kidneys to operate efficiently without generating putrefactive proteins or nitrogenous toxins. Additionally, it is advisable to avoid the practice of cooking eggs with excessive salt. Excessive salt and fish sauce intake are silent adversaries that elevate blood pressure and directly burden renal microvessels. Instead of using abundant salty seasonings, you can employ a small amount of fresh ginger, onion, or a pinch of mild pepper. These seasonings not only warm the stomach, but also support blood circulation, facilitating smoother and safer renal filtration.
Upon peeling an egg, we typically observe two distinct parts, the egg white and the egg yolk. However, for the kidneys of older adults, these two parts offer entirely different nutritional values and risks. The core issue of concern here is the phosphorus to protein ratio. Are you aware that the majority of phosphorus in an egg is concentrated in the yolk with a content of up to 586 milligrams per 100 grams? In medical practice, the ideal index for renal protection is a phosphorus to protein ratio below 10. Egg whites excel in this regard with a ratio of only 1.4, whereas egg yolks reach 13.5, exceeding the safe threshold by 33%. When our renal function declines, it loses its capacity to efficiently eliminate this excess phosphorus. The accumulation of phosphorus in the blood triggers a cascade of adverse health consequences. Firstly, it disrupts the delicate balance of vitamin D and calcium, prompting the body to leach calcium from bones for compensation, leading to weakened and brittle bones. More dangerously, this excess calcium and phosphorus will deposit in blood vessels, causing vascular calcification, making blood vessels stiffen and lose their natural elasticity.
This directly contributes to hypertension and significantly elevates the risk of severe cardiovascular complications. Furthermore, egg yolks are also rich in choline. For individuals with normal renal health, this is not an issue, but when the kidneys are compromised, intestinal bacteria convert this choline into a stealth toxin known as TMAO. This is a tenacious toxin in the bloodstream that kidneys struggle to filter. Its concentration in individuals with kidney failure can be up to 13 times higher than in healthy individuals, causing further damage to both renal and cardiovascular systems. Additionally, excessive egg yolk consumption can elevate levels of low-density lipoprotein, LDL cholesterol, and induce oxidative stress on blood vessels. Clinical studies have demonstrated that replacing a portion of meat or fish with egg whites significantly reduces serum phosphorus levels, while ensuring adequate intake of valuable protein to prevent sarcopenia or malnutrition. Therefore, if you are experiencing moderate to severe renal issues, prioritize egg whites and minimize yolk consumption to protect blood vessels and reduce the burden on renal function.
I will now share a simple yet highly effective secret to transform the egg from a potential burden into a genuine therapeutic agent for renal health. The key lies in a highly familiar fruit found in many homes, papaya. Make it a habit to incorporate a slice of ripe papaya or some shredded green papaya with your egg consumption. The reason is that papaya contains a potent proteolytic enzyme called papain. You can visualize papain as a diligent protein cleaver. When we consume eggs, protein chains are typically long and complex, making the digestive system of the elderly is inherently weakened, encountering significant challenges in protein breakdown. Papain enzyme immediately facilitates this process by comminuting protein chains into shorter peptide segments, known as peptides, enabling easier and rapid absorption by the body. This prompt and efficient protein absorption in the small intestine offers a dual benefit for renal health. Firstly, it substantially limits the amount of excess protein that reaches the large intestine. In the large intestine, an abundance of undigested protein can lead to putrefactive fermentation by bacteria, generating highly toxic ammonia gas. When ammonia permeates the bloodstream, it forces the kidneys into overdrive to filter it out, causing severe adverse effects and a silent decline in renal function. With the aid of papain, this source of toxins is addressed directly at the digestive stage. Secondly, scientific studies have substantiated the direct kidney protective capabilities of papaya. The active phytochemicals in papaya help mitigate markers of inflammation in the glomeruli and prevent structural damage to the renal tubules. Furthermore, the consumption of papain nurtures beneficial gut bacteria, such as Akkermansia muciniphila. These probiotics fortify the intestinal barrier, preventing toxins from transgressing into the bloodstream and subsequently attacking the kidneys. Thus, a simple serving of papaya not only enhances dietary enjoyment, but also provides a robust protective shield for your kidneys.
Beyond papaya, two other remarkably simple ingredients readily available in most kitchens can safeguard renal health when consuming eggs: a glass of warm water and fresh ginger slices. The practice of drinking approximately 240 milliliters of warm filtered water with meals in lieu of teas or coffee significantly improves blood rheology. Warm water naturally attenuates blood viscosity, reducing its thickness and facilitating smoother passage of blood cells through the delicate capillaries of the glomeruli. This is particularly crucial as protein-rich egg meals often lead to increased blood viscosity, potentially imposing strain on the kidney's filtration capacity. Opting for pure, filtered water instead of caffeinated beverages prevents diuretic effects that can cause dehydration, thereby enabling the kidneys to more easily dissolve and excrete protein byproducts without experiencing overload.
Regarding fresh ginger, it serves as an excellent companion in combating inflammation. Medical research has demonstrated that a judicious daily intake of fresh ginger, typically below 4 grams, can reduce renal inflammation by up to 25% in individuals suffering from chronic kidney conditions. The valuable bioactive compounds in ginger, such as gingerols and shogaols, not only provide potent antioxidant effects, but also significantly enhance kidney function parameters after approximately 12 weeks of consistent consumption. When a small amount of grated fresh ginger is added to egg dishes or infused into warm water, it acts as a stomachic, aiding digestion and mitigating potential inflammatory responses arising from protein metabolism. The synergistic combination of warm water, which promotes blood thinning and circulation, and ginger, which reduces inflammation, creates a powerful concerted effect that protects the delicate renal microvalve. Simply peel a small piece of ginger, using about 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger to sprinkle over eggs or dissolve in warm water to create an effective and economical health shield. It is important to remember that confidence in natural methods, when scientifically validated, enhances our ability to proactively manage our daily health.
In addition to ginger and warm water, a serving of fresh green vegetables accompanied by a few drops of lemon juice completes our comprehensive kidney protection strategy. Many individuals express concern that kidney patients must restrict green vegetables due to potassium content. However, the reality is that most individuals do not require restriction of leafy greens unless blood tests reveal excessively high potassium levels. Prioritize low oxalate vegetables such as kale, lettuce, or bok choy. Specifically, spinach should be avoided as it contains extremely high oxalate levels, up to 65 milligrams per cup, which is 10-fold higher than other vegetables. The abundant dietary fiber in green vegetables functions as a scavenger, effectively clearing uremic toxins from the intestinal tract. Scientific studies have confirmed that a high-fiber diet can reduce the concentration of kidney-damaging toxins such as indoxyl sulfate by approximately 60% compared to a diet primarily composed of meat and fish.
Beyond toxin elimination, green vegetables contribute to balancing the body's internal acid-base environment. It is imperative to recognize that eggs and other animal proteins typically increase acid production, a burden that the aging kidneys struggle to excrete effectively. Incorporating a side of green vegetables provides an alkalizing effect, thereby lessening the renal workload and retarding the decline in glomerular filtration rate.
Finally, a critically important culinary technique involves the use of lemon or vinegar during egg preparation. When eggs are cooked at high temperatures, harmful compounds known as advanced glycation end products, AGEs, can form and attack the renal vasculature. However, merely adding a small amount of low pH lemon juice, typically with a pH between 2 and 3, can inhibit the deleterious binding reaction between sugars and proteins. Cooking with acidic ingredients like lemon or vinegar has been shown to reduce AGE formation by 10 to 100 times. Therefore, remember to squeeze a little lemon juice over your egg dishes or use lemon juice as a dipping sauce to both enhance flavor and protect your kidneys from the adverse effects of high temperatures.
Ultimately, what constitutes a safe daily egg intake for seniors? The answer is entirely dependent on an individual's current health status, particularly their glomerular filtration rate, GFR. Initially, you can estimate your safe protein intake using a simple formula. Multiply your body weight in pounds by 0.25 to 0.27 to determine your daily protein allowance in grams. For instance, an individual weighing approximately 60 kilograms, equivalent to 132 pounds, should aim for a daily protein intake of 33 to 36 grams. As one egg contains approximately 6.25 grams of protein, careful calculation is essential to avoid overloading the kidneys. For individuals in normal health or those with mild kidney impairment at stages 1 and 2, consuming 1 to 2 eggs daily is generally safe. However, upon progressing to stage 3A, it is advisable to reduce to 1/2 to 1 whole egg or optimally substitute with 1 to 2 egg whites. In more advanced stages, such as 3B and 4, the kidneys are considerably fatigued and highly susceptible to phosphorus accumulation.
The best recommendation at these stages is to avoid egg yolks entirely and limit consumption to a maximum of 2 egg whites per day. Prioritizing egg whites ensures adequate high-quality protein for muscle maintenance without significantly increasing blood phosphorus and toxin levels, which can be amplified by up to 13 times when consuming yolks. For individuals undergoing hemodialysis, protein requirements actually increase to compensate for losses incurred during the filtration process. However, specific dietary numbers must be determined based on regular laboratory test results and the guidance of a medical specialist. Remember, understanding your specific health stage to adjust egg consumption is the golden rule for protecting your kidneys from severe consequences.
Continuously foamy urine is one of the earliest and most readily observable signs indicating renal protein excretion issues. It is crucial to differentiate. If foam appears fleetingly and dissipates quickly, it may be normal. However, if the foam layer is persistent, dense, and present with every urination, it serves as a warning of protein leakage through the glomerular filtration membrane. Improper egg consumption can generate metabolic toxins, such as ammonia or trimethylene N-oxide, TMAO, which damage the glomerular filter. This damage causes protein to escape into the urine instead of being retained to nourish the body.
The second indicator is a change in your physical appearance, specifically the presence of edema or swelling. Protein plays a vital role in retaining fluid within blood vessels. Consequently, excessive protein loss reduces osmotic pressure, leading to fluid extravasation into surrounding tissues and resulting in swelling. Carefully observe your ankles, feet, or the area around your eyes upon waking each morning.
You might notice that your rings feel tighter or strap marks from sandals persist on your skin for an unusually long duration. For greater certainty, you can perform a simple pitting edema test at home by pressing your finger firmly into the skin near your shin bone for 5 seconds. If, after removing your finger, a deep indentation remains and takes a considerable time to refill, this is evidence of fluid overload in your body due to inefficient kidney function. These changes often manifest subtly, but if left unaddressed, they can lead to severe long-term health implications. Therefore, upon observing persistent foamy urine and swelling in your extremities, promptly seek consultation with a nephrologist to undergo essential diagnostic tests such as creatinine levels and urinary protein quantification.
Pay particular attention when fatigue and weakness become progressively more severe daily. This is not merely the usual lassitude of aging, but can signify critical renal overload. In stage 4 chronic kidney disease, where kidney filtration capacity is reduced to 15 to 29%, the body accumulates a significant amount of nitrogenous toxins from incomplete protein digestion from eggs. These toxins, coupled with anemia resulting from insufficient red blood cell production by the kidneys, will cause you to constantly feel breathless, profoundly exhausted, and make even simple daily tasks arduous. Particularly hazardous is the symptom of shortness of breath, especially when lying down or during mild exertion. This is a critical warning sign, indicating fluid accumulation and overflow into the lungs due to the kidney's inability to effectively filter water. This condition can precipitate acute pulmonary edema and substantially elevate the risk of severe cardiac complications. If you experience shortness of breath accompanied by severe swelling in your limbs, recognize this as an emergency requiring immediate hospitalization to prevent regrettable outcomes.
Furthermore, frequent nausea, loss of appetite, or an ammonia-like or urine-like odor on your breath are signals indicating dangerously elevated blood urea nitrogen levels. These toxins severely irritate the digestive system and can cause nerve damage, leading to symptoms such as progressive numbness or intense nocturnal muscle cramps. Never disregard these physiological reactions. When these symptoms appear concurrently, it signifies that your kidneys are in a highly precarious state and necessitate immediate specialized medical intervention. Dear valued audience, after all that we have discussed, I want you to internalize one fundamental truth. Eggs are not inherently detrimental. It is our erroneous consumption patterns that pose a risk to renal health. To protect your well-being in the most sustainable manner, let us commit to memory these 8 golden rules. Firstly, ingrain the understanding that eggs themselves are not harmful, but rather the way we consume them can be. Consequently, we must modify our food combination habits starting today.
Secondly, you must be fully aware of your current health stage and routinely undergo periodic tests to monitor your glomerular filtration rate. Thirdly, dedicate time to calculate your safe daily protein intake based on your individual body weight. Fourthly, as renal function begins to decline, prioritize the consumption of egg whites and minimize egg yolks to alleviate the phosphorus burden. Fifthly, transform eggs into a beneficial nutrient by consistently pairing them with supportive foods such as papaya, fresh ginger, and warm filtered water.
Sixthly, never neglect to balance your body's acid-base environment with a refreshing plate of green vegetables whenever you consume eggs. Seventhly, cultivate acute awareness to promptly detect alarming signs such as swelling or foamy urine, enabling timely intervention. And finally, consistently seek counsel from nutritional experts to obtain a personalized dietary regimen optimally suited to your specific physiological condition.
Your kidneys are a precious asset in your golden years. Cherish and care for them with both accurate knowledge and genuine dedication.